Okay, so I had this thought because I started to do something. For me as a writer, one of the hardest things to write is I don't want to say minutia, but in your brain, the way that people usually think is that they think big moment, big moment, big moment. And then all of that transition stuff between the big moments is where you have to slow down and really put in your content. And that's the hardest part for me. I don't know if it's the hardest part for all writers or most writers, but slowing down and doing the in between stuff. I'm not somebody who's really good at small talk either. So maybe that has something to do with it, but I really like doing big moments. So one of my writing styles is to just jump around. And then after I've hit all my big moments, I'll fill in the gaps and I'll write my transitions. Um, that kind of carried over from academic writing because I used to do my main point. And then once I had all of my main points lined up, I would do my transitions into each point. Um, that way I had free reign to like move things around if I needed to. So I've carried that over into my creative writing. Another thing I do is if I just decide I don't want to write a transition or this is taking too long. Not taking too long as in like the writing process is taking too long, but like this is a lot of fluff that I don't want to force my readers to read. You know how like Tolkien will take like 20 pages to describe a tree. I love Tolkien. I love Tolkien. So I feel like I can say stuff like that because I passionately love his writing. But he does take 20 pages to describe a tree. So if you're not in the mood for that, you don't want to read that, do you? Okay. So sometimes I'll just do page breaks so that there's like it's an abrupt transition, but it's like we're just moving from this scene to this scene. So that's something to keep in mind. But for where I'm at right now is I'm gonna jump to something more interesting because I'm kind of putting myself to sleep a little bit. And another good rule about writing is if you don't enjoy what you're reading or you're not enjoying what you're writing, then nobody's gonna really enjoy reading it. Because there are billions of people on this planet, which means there's got to be somebody out there who has the same taste as you. So if you're enjoying what you're doing, then there exists a person who would also enjoy what you're doing. If you don't enjoy what you're doing, then there also exists a person who doesn't enjoy what you're doing. So don't do something you don't enjoy and then expect it to be successful because you can't pitch it to other people and you can't convince somebody that you enjoy doing it, if that makes sense. Um, so as long as you enjoy your writing, you know you're on the right page because at least one other person out there is going to enjoy what you're doing. Um, okay. I just wanted to share that. Now I'm going to start writing. I'm trying to stick to like a gardening metaphor here. Because I did the roots thing. And this would be easier if I was a gardener. I tried to grow some dahlias this year, but they didn't fare too well. Of course, we also had two extreme heat waves, so I just wasn't able to keep them alive. So I'm gonna try again next year, but um, sleepy roots and I really want to bring to the forefront the like kind of classism that existed. It still exists, but not as much because the 1% is a lot smaller than it was back then. But I do really want to like bring to the forefront the classism that existed. Um, and I want Ichabod to be incredibly snobby and full of himself. Like if you've ever been on a really bad date where the guy was just like thought that he was the best thing on earth, that's what I'm going for. Ichabod thinks he's the best thing on earth. Okay, guys. We'll stop here and I'll check in with y'all a little later when I have more.